Making a cake starts with torting by cutting it into thirds evenly. When you do so, be careful to go as even as possible. Don't go straight across, but instead go a quarter way through, a quarter way through, a quarter way through, and spin.
Pode avisar que eu não vou. Eu tô na estrada. Eu nunca sei da hora. Eu nunca sei de nada.
When icing a cake like a wedding cake, generally you start by syruping it first. Syrup is a simple solution of sugar and water and usually some kind of alcohol. This makes sure that the layers stay moist and not too dry. When you're icing the cake, start in the center and work your way out. Top with your additional layer, and then do it again. Final layer, it's really important to make sure it's secure and make sure it is flat. So get down and take a look at it. Is it flat? Once it is flat and once it's all sealed up, you can start by once again resyruping the top and then starting from the top of the cake, begin to ice. It's going to be really important not to get any crumbs into your icing at this time, so be very careful. Anytime you have crumb, make sure you wipe it off. You start at the top and then load up your knife and go to the sides.
De perna bamba e solta, nem vem tirar meu riso frouxo com algum conselho que hoje eu passei batom vermelho. Eu tenho tido a alegria como dom, em cada canto vejo o lado bom. Nem vem tirar meu riso frouxo com algum conselho que hoje eu passei batom vermelho. Eu tenho tido a alegria.
When covering the cakes with fondant, you're going to have to knead out the fondant till it is smooth and then roll it out until it's about 1.5 times the width or diameter of your cake. We're using cornstarch to make sure it doesn't stick, and to transfer it to the cake, you roll it over the rolling pin like you would a pie crust, and then carefully ease it onto the top of the cake. Once you do so, smooth out the top, and you're going to start folding down the sides or smoothing down the sides. What you want to be careful of is you want it to be smooth without any wrinkles, but also you don't want any bubbles. So don't press down all the way as you do this. Don't seal it, just make sure it's nice and smooth. This will make sure all your wrinkles get out. Once you have this totally smooth around the sides and you have no wrinkles, then you can start adhering it to the sides.
E hoje eu sou culpada, e eu que fico a flor da pele sem querer. Eu tenho um coração vulcânico e sempre acabo errada. Não diga que eu lhe trato mal. Eu tento tanto te fazer feliz, mas acontece que eu sou desastrada.
If you're gonna do a tiered cake, sometimes it makes a lot of sense to create some kind of structure. And the structure is done through the placement of some kind of column. If it's not a heavy cake, you can use drinking straws, and you're just gonna cut them so they're of around the height of the cake. You don't want them to be any higher than the cake. They could be a little bit shorter than the cake, but not any higher. And you put about 3 or 4 of these straws in the cake, And then you're going to place your next cake with the cake board on top of that and adhere it down. Before you do so, it's really smart to put a little bit of water down so it sticks to the top of the cake, and then you repeat with the next layer.
Papa's sick, leaning back. Mama sat in her old blue suit. Sister cried and ran away. Asked me to take care of her little stray. I wanna leave with no fighting in a little house with light strings shining. So when the night falls gray as a cloud, me and the mud can have.
To make a band or a ribbon around your cake, you're going to start off with a piece of fondant. You can color this fondant by adding a couple drops of food coloring to it. And once you have that in there, you're going to make a rope out of it and then press that rope into about a 3-inch ribbon. Cut that ribbon into about a 1-inch band. And at that time, you're going to seal that onto your cake with a little bit of water. Be careful not to put the water on the cake board, otherwise the fondant will stick to the cake board. And then you're going to take that fondant band and roll it up kind of like a fruit roll-up. Start at one end and roll it towards the other. Once you have this tape of fondant that has been rolled, you're going to take that and place it onto your cake, spin your cake around, and adhere it to the wetness that you put onto the cake originally. Give yourself a little extra so that it can seal up, and then you're going to cut that with a knife or scissors.
I'm sure you can free my heart. You came to cure my heart.
To make a fondant rose, you're going to start off with a piece of colored fondant or white fondant, and you're going to cut about 6 nubs of fondant. These are going to be about $half size. Once you get these cut, Chef used a pastry bag that he cut in half or opened up. You're going to take these little nubs and round them into balls. They don't have to be totally perfect, but they should be pretty round. Once you have the little balls that are rounded up, you're going to fold over the plastic. That's to prevent it from sticking to anything. And you're going to take the heel of your hand and push into the ball. So like wedge the ball in between your hand and the table, so that what we're looking for is one side of the sphere is thinner than the other side. And what this is going to do is going to give it a rose-like effect. Once you're done with that, you can take your hands and thin it out just a little bit on the side closest to you to make the petals a little bit more delicate towards that end. Once that is complete, you can start constructing your roses. You start off with one piece of fondant, just one piece, and you're going to take it and curl it into a tight little curly cue. You can thin out the top a little bit and just kind of like push it all together. The next thing you're going to do is take another piece of fondant and wrap the second piece of fondant around the first, making sure the thin part is at the top and securing it to the bottom. You don't seal it both sides, you leave one side open, and that one side open you insert the second or the third petal. Put it in there, wrap, seal, and then begin again with a 4th, 5th, and 6th petal.
Sambinha bom é esse que te traz de volta. Quer só tocar, que logo você quer voltar. Meu coração já cansou de tanto choro derramar e pede volta pra gente dançar. Sambinha bom é esse que tem pouca única nota que é só tocar, que logo você quer cantar. Meu coração já cansou de tanto choro derramar e implora volta pra gente sambar. Eu quero ficar com você. Eu quero grudar em você. Eu quero me bordar.
Making a leaf is similar to making a rose, only in this case you're going to not turn it into a ball, but almost like a teardrop shape, a 3D teardrop shape. Goes onto the plastic, and you're going to take the plastic, fold it over again, pound it with your hand again, doing a thinner side closest to you to create some dimension. And then once you're done with that, you can take it and using your knife, the back of your knife, or the front of your knife, cut little lines, and those are going to indicate the veins. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other side.
Sambinha bom é esse que te traz de volta, que é só cantar, que logo você quer voltar. Meu coração já cansou